Really?
Our first drive out of Kyoto was a pretty long one. We first stopped by Nagoya and had some awesome tonkatsu which used a miso-based dressing. We then visited the Nagoya Castle. It was raining pretty heavily and the main keep seems to be closed since the start of COVID, so we didn't have the chance to visit inside. But with the heavy rain, we were treated with a beautiful view of the mountains. The clouds resting between the valleys made the mountains look like they were on fire. But by the time we reached Magome, which was the first stop of our Nakasendo journey, most shops were already closed and the sun was setting. We reached our lodging around 6 PM and it was already more or less pitch dark. I met one of the employees there. His name is Kenichi and we chatted a lot about anime. It's quite funny that we introduced ourselves as Ken. I call myself Ken when I'm in Japan because it's easier for Japanese to remember my name. For him, he does the same because it's easier for foreigners to remember his name. Kenichi, I hope you are watching this and best of luck on your new lodging business. The hostel we stayed in was quite secluded, but I think it's part of the charm. We didn't get much of a view of the place the evening before, so I decided to go out and take a look at the surroundings. Nakasendo connects Kyoto to Edo, or present-day Tokyo, and along it were many post towns. Similar to Magome, Tsumago was a post town which was built during the Edo period, and it served as resting and lodging spots for travelers. This was my first experience visiting such quaint towns in Japan. Sure, there were still tourists walking around, but it was such a nice break away from the crowded Kyoto and Osaka, which we experienced for the past week. It was also from that day where we experienced colder weather and more autumn colors. We continue our journey through Kisoji, or Kiso Valley. During the Edo period, Kiso Fukushima was the most important post town of the Kiso Valley. From here, the prefecture magistrate governed the entire region and oversaw one of the 4 Nakasendo checkpoints. The checkpoint also served as a defensive measure in case the road was attacked. We went to try Koshu, which is aged sake. Its color is usually brown compared to the usual clear sake. Sake typically takes a year to be prepared, but for Koshu, it is aged for 3 to 5 years. This gives the sake a lot more complexity in its taste. Flavors are a bit more pungent, and to be honest, I wasn't really a big fan of it. Koshu is an acquired taste and isn't as widely consumed. But still, it was really fun to experience and learn something new about what I enjoy drinking. We drove to a ryokan, which was located near Kiso Fukushima. To be honest, the room felt pretty old, but the food was really good and the onsen was nice. They organized a free stargazing tour where they brought us up to a nearby mountaintop. We were quite lucky to have relatively clear skies, and we were even able to see Saturn through a telescope. The next morning, before we head off, we went back to the same mountaintop to enjoy the view we missed out on. In total, there were 69 post towns along Nakasendo's 540km route, and Narai is one of them. Despite the towns looking somewhat similar at this point, there was always something unique in each of them, making us wonder what's ahead. One thing I was looking forward to during this road trip was visiting rest stops. We were heading to Matsumoto and decided to stop by this rest stop for lunch. I don't think this was a special stop, but man, everything here looked so scenic. We made it in time to visit Matsumoto Castle. This was the third castle we visited during this trip, and this was our favorite. Matsumoto Castle is one of the 12 remaining castles in Japan that is still in its original form. This means that everything inside here is over 500 years old, which made me wonder how many people have walked through here and how many people may have died within these walls trying to protect it. As an avid enjoyer of fried chicken, we went to the nearby izakaya to try the Sanzoku Yaki, which translates to Molten Bandit Grill. You may have thought that this refers to something the bandits here used to eat, but it was just a word play on the word toriyage. Toriyage means fried chicken, but also sounds like the verb to steal. But I mean, you don't have to understand all this to enjoy it. Well fried, flavorful, and it's everything you can ask for a fried chicken. I highly recommend trying this if you are in Matsumoto. I really like the vibe of Matsumoto. It's a relatively small city compared to Tokyo and Osaka. But given that we have been out in the rural areas for a while now, it was nice to be able to enjoy the convenience of this city. We left Matsumoto and started heading towards Karuizawa. Karuizawa was actually really cold. People from Tokyo tend to visit Karuizawa during the summer to escape the heat. So autumn is pretty much winter temperatures over here. But this was also finally where we got to see autumn in full swing. The blend of red, orange, and yellow was just so mesmerizing. I wish we could spend more than one night here, and I will definitely return to visit here someday. The drive from Karuizawa to Kawaguchiko was a long one and was a detour away from our journey towards Tokyo. But man, this drive was so goddamn scenic. We had a quick stopover at 7-Eleven for lunch, and we pulled over at one of the scenic viewing points. And this is where we got our first view of Fujisan. The views of Fujisan got bigger and prettier from then on. When we arrived at Kawaguchiko, we took the ropeway up. Our view became partially blocked by the clouds, which made us a little disappointed. And instead of joining the insane queue to take the ropeway down, we decided to trek down, which was quite nice because the weather was great and we were surrounded by autumn leaves. Kawaguchiko is a lake that is located near Fujisan, and in the nearby town of Fujikawa Kujiko, it also served as a hub for people who are climbing the mountain. We visited Fuji-Q Highlands theme park as well. I remember passing by here when I first visited Japan as part of a tour group many years ago, and I've always wanted to come back here to the theme park. The queues weren't too bad, and we actually got on most of the exciting rides. There's also a Naruto area, which was quite fun to hang around. If you love thrilling roller coasters, I will highly recommend you to visit Fuji-Q. At last, it's time for us to leave Kawaguchiko. In the morning before we left for Tokyo, we visited this restaurant for breakfast. We chose to sit by the window to enjoy the view of Fujisan while eating onigiri that looks like Fujisan. It was such a pleasant and comforting moment, and I know I will be back here for sure. We bid farewell to this place as we tried to catch our last glimpse of Fujisan's beauty. I can finally appreciate why the mountain is so well loved by the Japanese, and I'm glad we made the detour just to come here. As Fujisan got smaller and smaller, our road trip through the post towns of Nakasendo and Kawaguchiko came to an end. Honestly, I was a bit nervous to drive in Japan because of the language barrier, but I have the best experience driving here. Most signs use English, and Google Map was pretty reliable. Not only was I able to enjoy the less travelled locations with ease, the drivers here are some of the nicest. People don't tailgate and they are always more than willing to give way whenever you signal. It made the whole driving experience so relaxing. That's all for this season of Ken in Japan. We spent the last few days in Tokyo doing shopping and all. I hope you guys enjoy this very back-to-back season of Ken in Japan. Thanks for watching and peace. Am I still in frame?
Yeah.